Good morning, 8th grade. Hope you guys are doing well. Now, today's lesson is going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to be talking about the inner planets. Now, the inner planets are the four main planets between the Sun and Mars. And so, well, Mars is one of them. But anyway, the point is we have four planets from the Sun, and then we have the outer planets that go beyond the asteroid belt and things like that there. So, all four of these planets have their own very unique characteristics, and we're going to learn about them today. So let's get started. First things first, we have to know what the four inner planets are. Hopefully you guys know this already. If you don't, then this is here for you. It says, the word planet actually means wanderer. And so when people used to look up into the night sky and actually study these different heavenly bodies, they called them wanderers because they were moving around so much. And so the word planet was given to them because they were wanderers. From there, we know there are four inner planets, and they are as follows. Mercury, the closest to the Sun. Venus, the second closest to the Sun. Earth, the third planet from the Sun. And then finally, we have Mars, which is the fourth planet from the Sun. These four here make up that unit that we call the inner planets. And from there, we can look into all of these and see the special characteristics they all have. For starters, we have Mercury. And this picture at the right is of Mercury. It's one of the most commonly used pictures, and it's got that gray appearance to it. Almost looks like the moon, but it is not the moon. It is Mercury. Now, Mercury is known for, number one, being the planet closest to the Sun. And even though Mercury is closest to the Sun, it is not, I repeat, it is not the hottest planet. That is saved for another planet we're going to talk about today. Now, Mercury is actually very difficult to see without a telescope. The other planets, you have a chance of actually seeing them without a telescope, but Mercury is not one of them. It's actually pretty difficult to see it. But every 3 to 13 years or so, Mercury will actually block part of the view of the Sun, making it look like a black dot. If you were to actually look at the Sun, you see a little black dot flying around the Sun or passing by the Sun, and that would be Mercury. So this happens about 3 to 13 years, so it's a bit unpredictable. But we'll also see that other planets do this as well, and they do a similar thing. And that's one of the best ways to actually see Mercury, without a telescope, of course. And then from here, we have Mercury as the fastest planet. Now, its year on Mercury, it gets around the entire Sun in 88 days. So that's a pretty big thing there as well. Mercury is actually named after the speediest god there was, Mercury. And so that's where it got its name from. Now, it takes 2 Mercury years for the Sun to set or rise. And so there are places on Earth, like certain parts of Alaska and certain parts of more northern countries, that you can have very long stretches of time where the Sun will not rise or the Sun will not set. On Mercury, this is taken to the extreme, where at times there's 176 odd days where if you are on one spot of Mercury, you would always have sunlight or always be in the dark. This means that the temperatures get kind of crazy on Mercury. Temperature on Mercury varies between negative 275 and 800 degrees Fahrenheit. And so this can cause some issues, and this is why we have definitely ruled out Mercury as a place for humans to stay. It's just not very likely. We have sent different probes, and no wait, that's something else. We'll talk about that a bit later. But Mercury, we're not going to want to visit. It's just why? From there we get to Venus, which is considered Earth's twin. This is because they are actually very similar in size. Now, Venus is actually known as the brightest object in the night sky. And because of this, it got the name the evening star. And it also got the name the morning star. And so, for a while, people actually thought that they were two different planets. But upon further inspection, it was discovered that they are both the same planet. And it used to actually be given a different name. But now it is called Venus. Its other name was actually Phosphorus, when you could see it in the morning, and then Hesperus, when you could see it at evening. However, same, so we call it Venus, and it's just one planet. From there, Venus is the only planet that takes longer to rotate on its axis than it does to orbit the sun. And so, that's pretty crazy to think about it. Earth rotates every day on its axis. That's what makes our days. But when it comes to Venus, not the case at all. It takes its slow time rotating. Venus's rotation is retrograde, which is a new word probably for a lot of you guys, which means backward. And so it rotates backward. It doesn't rotate normally. So this means that the sun rises from west to east instead of east to west. That's a pretty cool little fact about Venus. Venus is a bit of a strange planet for being Earth's twin. And then Venus is also known as the hottest planet. So you would think, oh, Mercury's the closest, obviously it's the hottest, but there are conditions on Venus that make it so that Venus is the hottest planet. At certain points, it is 860 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a whole 60 degrees hotter than Mercury, which is kind of crazy to think about it. Now from here, we get to Earth. Now, my talk about Earth is actually going to be kind of small because we've talked about Earth so much in this class. It was Earth science, and now we're going to space science. So I'm just going to give you the basic facts on Earth from a very, summarized point. Earth is the only planet that has natural life, and so you can bring life to the other planets artificially, but you can only see it as far as we know right now on Earth. And I believe it's going to stay that way. But as of right now, Earth is the only planet that has any life on it that we can know. Now, over 70% of Earth's surface is actually covered in water. That's why a lot of people will call Earth the blue planet. That's because it is very, very full of water in this sense. And so that leaves only less than 30% of Earth to actually be land. From there, the moon is Earth's only natural satellite. So that means it's the only thing that naturally orbits around the Earth. However, there are an unknown number of man-made satellites. And the reason it's unknown is for a couple of reasons. There's a lot of secret ones that, they won't let people know about and things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of man-made satellites up there for different reasons. And I think I talked about this with 6th grade. I didn't talk about it with you guys. When you decommission a satellite, all you really do is push it out of orbit a little bit. And so it still orbits the Earth. And so there's really old satellites up there right now that aren't really doing anything. They're just orbiting around. It's actually very rare that they will go and take it and have it re-enter Earth's atmosphere on purpose, even though most of the actually all the satellites will, over a very long period of time, come back to Earth because of the way that gravity works. From here, we go on to Mars. Mars is the 4th planet from the Sun and is also known as the Red Planet. Now, Mars is about half the size of Earth, but it is named after the Greek god of war, obviously Mars. Now, the reason for this was actually due to its color. If you look at the picture there, you can see a nice red color on Mars. And the people back in that day actually thought it looked very similar to blood. And so the Greeks they just basically said, I guess we're going to call that the blood planet, we'll name it after Mars. So it's that reddish color. Now that red color actually comes from rust, believe it or not. So the same way that your fence may rust or a metal object in the rain may rust, you can also get rust on your planet. It's not exactly how it happened, but basically there was a reaction with the oxygen and the naturally occurring iron on Mars, which covered it in rust, making it red in hue. From here, Mars is actually known for its crazy dust storms, and its dust storms can cover the whole planet and last months. So this is far worse than anything we can ever experience on Earth, which is another reason why life is on Earth and not on Mars. So I know a lot of you guys did your project that I gave you on SpaceX, and you know that SpaceX's main goal, as of right now anyway, is to actually get humans to Mars and to colonize Mars. Well, that's a lot more difficult than you might believe. Colonizing a planet is not something that is easy by any means, especially one that has dust storms that are extremely violent and cover the whole planet and last for months. The likelihood of this happening, it's pretty low. I'm just going to be honest with you. I wish to see the day that it happens, but we're gonna, I'm not gonna hold my breath. Let's just say it like that. Now, the cool part about Mars is it actually has Olympus Mons. And Olympus Mons is the largest known mountain in our solar system. And so Mars is home of the largest mountain. So that's a big reason why you have companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin and Boeing and Virgin Galactic all fighting to get people to space and actually have what they call space tourism. And that's a pretty cool thing to think about. You may one day actually visit the solar system's largest mountain, if they have their way, of course, and they can figure these things out. We'll see what happens. But that is the end of our slideshow for today. And so make sure to take notes on that and then send me the notes that you take for a grade. Thank you very much and goodbye.